What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Elle Fanning's character of Tomorrow in Death Stranding 2. We did a video a few days ago on Higgs. You guys seemingly liked it, so I wanted to bring you guys this one. And look, okay, this one is far more confusing. This one is far more, I think it's going to depend on each person, right? So I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. Higgs, I feel like there's only a couple different ways it can go. Of course, a Kojima game, there's infinite ways, but Higgs, I feel like you can kind of lock down a set number. With Tomorrow, like, you have the whole Lou angle, which is really what I want to focus on quite heavily in this video, but also, the importance of this character. I mean, kind of starting right there, one thing that's very important to remember is, Hideo Kojima had talked about that if Elle Fanning turned this down, that basically, that was going to be a problem, right? Like, things would have to be rewritten, and that would be a pretty big deal if she didn't say yes. So, right there, and the fact that, by the way, her name is Tomorrow, this idea of the future, and you can connect that to the word connecting. Should we have connected? You think about extinction entities. You think about, by the way, episode 15 of Death Stranding 1 is literally titled Tomorrow is in Your Hands. So that's kind of the epilogue episode. Well, epilogue / this is just where you go out and you kind of just complete all the side tasks, right? So, there's so many connection points here, right? You can look at the trailer with like the tentacle arm situation that she has. Now, look, the easiest theory and the one that I really do want to subscribe to, okay, is that she is Lou in some form. Now, this is where it does get confusing because I think already, we had through these trailers, you kind of had a story with Lou of like, okay, did she die? But then you have like Fragile saying in recent trailers, like, well, she managed to jump Lou to the beach, right? So Fragile took the shot and not Lou. But then when Sam is being held hostage by Higgs, which, the guitar versus samurai fight, he asks Higgs, like, did you have anything to do with Lou's death? But then Higgs responds with, you don't know, do you? So, like, already, just even what we see and hear, because these are all different freaking parts of the game, right? Like, it's very hard. I would say it's almost hard to put things in chronological order, and then it's hard to just even figure out, like, what's going on. But here's the thing, right? She is clearly a very important character, even more so important recently. We saw with the extended, like, the gameplay presentation around Summer Game Fest time, you saw that, like, 2-minute thing where she is just very, very powerful. She saves Sam, in that way, and she honestly has some powers that rival, I guess, in the ways that she can move and manipulate. She has a lot of powers that, like, link up to Higgs. And there's also, like, there's been clips and trailers, right, where, like, both of them have, like, the black, like, tar type thing going down their face, and their heads are, like, very closely related. Here, okay, as a general outline, all right, I think she's going to be a character that's very much in line with Sam and his group, right? Like, doing what's good, but because of her powers, obviously she's going to be targeted for something else. Now, the extinction entity thing is really interesting to me because can she be Lou and also be an extinction entity? I think the answer is probably yes, especially because I've talked about this before. Like, you think about the ending of Death Stranding 1 and Amelie, or I guess like the connection of Amelie and Bridget, right? But that individual being in charge, right, of this extinction. And I don't know what part she's going to play, if any, in this game. Kojima says she's only in this game because of flashbacks. I don't know if I believe that, but if she is not in it, they need a new person to usher in this extinction. Now, I don't think the extinction would actually happen, but literally just having rain, having BTs, having all of this stuff means that you're going to have some extinction thing going on, right? That's why it happens in the first place. So somebody needs to kind of have that power. And if Amelie, let's just call her Amelie for the purposes, if she's not in this game and she's not that, then you're going to need a new person. And then also, I guess, combined with, definitely Higgs has a thing for her, right? That there's maybe something there and maybe he wants to manipulate or use her. That could be another sign, right? That her powers, we've already seen her very powerful, but that her powers could even be beyond that and something that Higgs knows how to kind of take advantage of, right? So I think I'm pretty comfortable saying that she's gonna be like a very fundamental part to it. She might even be, say, as like a villain role for like an arc, like she's on the good side, goes to the bad side, and then gets brought back over. Maybe it's a back and forth thing where she ultimately is like the final obstacle that, we just talked about Higgs, right? Of like, okay, well, how does that whole situation play out? I don't think he's the villain throughout the entire game, right? And I don't think he's the end villain. So I might assume, to be honest with you, that Tomorrow tomorrow at a certain point is that like dire, like, you know, end game type villain. Then you have the Lou stuff. Now, I guess what confuses me about this entire situation, right? Like, I think it's possible. I think with aging and with being brought back and like how beaches work, you know, I really feel like there's a world where Lou, I guess it's tough because like if Lou doesn't die, like you have to almost assume Lou dies at least once, right? Like it's taken out of the living world and kind of comes back, right? But I have seen other people speculate like if it does happen, there's a possibility that if Lou were to die, let's say, right, that Ha and Ka could come back again. Now, we've seen this happen twice already in Death Stranding, right, with Mama and Lockney, and then also with Bridget and Amelie. So this is already a thing. It's a theme, and I highly doubt you're just going to drop the theme, right? This idea that you can split, and maybe there can be a physical version of Lou that is tomorrow, that ages, and actually that follows exactly what, say, Amelie and Bridget, right? They split. Amelie is stuck on the beach. Bridget is able to, you know, naturally age and whatnot. So maybe you have that. You have to have some like sort of fast aging process though, like to get us where we're at in Death Stranding 2. But remember, it's like the second trailer or something, right? Like the first time we see tomorrow, she's in like this cocoon tar thing. So it's very possible that she's almost born out of it. So who's to say like she's not Lou in that form, and then she ages through whatever process she was put in there, and then she comes out as tomorrow. They might not even know it. Another thing I've mentioned several times is like depending on what gameplay clips and like what part of the game you're looking at, like Lou is not there all that much. You watch all the main trailers and Lou's only there a little bit, right? He has a replacement BB sometimes, and then other times, most times, it doesn't look like Sam has anything, you know, attached to his chest. So I don't know exactly how that's going to work with like detecting things and, you know, like the pulsing and being able to see your surroundings. Clearly he's going to have something, but we know that there's also like the replacement type BB things, right? Like you think about the doll, you know, in the first game, Amelie and Higgs. So like it's definitely possible that Sam doesn't have Lou for the majority of the game. And why wouldn't he have Lou? Well, then you have to figure something's going to happen there, and then something would have to happen to tomorrow. I just feel they've got to be linked because that's such an important character. There's even more mystery. Remember the Dead Man line of, you know, that BB unit was supposed to be and was incinerated like 4 years ago. So like who even is this thing, right? And by the way, when we say Lou, it's the Sam naming that BB unit, BB-28, right? Naming it Lou, not necessarily his kid. It gets so freaking wild because there's all of these connections everywhere. And like who was that BB in the first game anyway, especially now that, you know, you throw in that extra Dead Man line where it's like, okay, is that even who you thought it was? And then, you know, why is that so important? Why, if that BB unit becomes tomorrow, like, why does that even happen in the first place, right? It's a bunch of questions, to be honest with you. I mean, you take it for what it's worth. You let me know what you think in the comments, but it's just a lot of, like, random thoughts that go into my head regarding, you know, tomorrow as a character, because I just feel she is going to be so important, but I think so many of, like, no pun intended, but like these connection points of like, okay, well, this thing and then that thing, how do they connect? All of those things have to be explained in game. You know, like we can like speculate, okay, well, you could come up with your own lore. And technically that's what Hideo Kojima does, right? You just kind of make it up on the spot. He's just a legend for it. So, you know, I think a lot of those things are going to have to be explained as the game goes. And I just wonder, the same thing I said, I think with Higgs, I just wonder like how long they let it linger. You know what I mean? Like certain questions, certain theories. Like there's got to be big twists like at the end, you know, kind of classic. But, you know, as the game goes, like how much do you tell us right off the bat? Like say that is Lou, okay? How long does it take for us to figure it out? Do we know it immediately? Is it a mystery? Are there hints along the way? You know, like how long does it take to fully like figure that stuff out? But as I keep saying, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.